Welcome, Gunrunner.
Hello everybody, Q&A the Laird here, and today I've got a magazine retrospective for you, and I haven't done one of these for a little while, but I'm getting back to my huge pile of magazines that I bought a while back that I told you all about on previous videos, and this time I'm crossing to the other side of the ocean, which will no doubt please all my American viewers, of which I know I have many, because we're going to be looking at GamePro. And I've got quite a few of these to look at actually, so there will be more than one video um, looking at this. I've just split them into random issues at the moment, so I'm not doing them in any particular order, but they are mostly from around 92, 93. I think this one's much later. This one's 98, but we'll look at some different ones because I've got quite a few of them. So as you see, I'll just kind of show you some of the ones I've got. Here we go. So you might remember some of these if you read GamePro magazine. So there we go. That one's not got a cover, but I know which issue it is because it actually tells you on the next page, which is annoying. It's nice if I've got a cover for them, but annoyingly I haven't. So there we go. We will look at these in due course. Maybe we'll look at that one first. But I just wanted to obviously start by mentioning my own memory of GamePro magazine, because half the point of these magazine retrospectives is that they are nostalgic. And even though it's an American magazine, I have a lot of nostalgia for GamePro. And I'll just go into that because when I was a teenager and I was obviously gaming a lot, and when I got into gaming and stuff like that, I'd buy every magazine pretty much that was going. And I first started getting GamePro when I got an Atari Lynx, which was in 1990. So that's the time I first started buying it. So actually these issues are good because all these issues come after the time I started buying it. And there's at least one issue here from flicking through them originally that I definitely remember having. I haven't looked at them all in detail, but there's one that's definite because I specifically remembered the review. So I'll talk about that more when I get to it. But there was a shop in my hometown of Harpenden in Hertfordshire called Four Boys in the right in the high street. It was a big newsagent's or bookstore, as you Americans would call it, because it was quite a big one. They had imported magazines as well as UK ones, which was really, really cool. And they used to regularly stock GamePro and EGM as well. And actually later on, you could get Die Hard Game Fan there as well. That was a bit later on though, from what I remember. Because I started picking up issues of Die Hard Game Fan around the time the Jaguar came out. When I got a Jaguar, because actually it was before that because I remember seeing the previews for the Jaguar and Die Hard Game Fan. But anyway, I digress. So I started buying GamePro because it had Lynx reviews in it. It always covered the Lynx really well. And that's why I started buying it. And I also had a Mega Drive around that period as well. So it was obviously cool for that as well because it would show all the American stuff that we wouldn't get to see. And my younger brother had a Game Boy. So really we had a triple whammy of systems that it covered that we all had, and we get to see some different stuff to what we'd see in the British magazines. And I always liked the fact that the American magazines were so different. They were much more bombastic, and they didn't really go for traditional ratings like British magazines did. They were a bit more opinionated, I think, than British magazines were. And they went more on things like cheats and tactics. Like even in reviews, they would tell you like tactics for games quite often, which we didn't really get so much in British magazines either. It would quite often have dedicated tips and cheats sections, but wouldn't really include guides within the reviews or anything like that. And indeed, GamePro actually did do a separate tips and cheats magazine called SWAT Pro, which I've got a load of issues of as well, so I might look at them in the future. But anyway, that's my memories of it. And we'll look at that. And I did mention EGM actually, so if you are an American viewer and you're hoping to see some EGM, in due course I do have some EGM issues to go through. We'll move that over a bit. I've got a new stand to put these magazines on, which is better than the old one I was using as well. So, cool advert there actually. It's cool. I said that even without thinking about what it said at the top of the page. But for Accolades, Game Boy titles there, which are all Atari licenses, Missile Command, Asteroids and Centipede. All really good as well, actually. Really, really good versions of the games. Kind of adapted for the Game Boy. They're very, very cool. That's a cool Game Gear advert as well, isn't it? Battletoads, we've got some contents there. I'm not going to concentrate too much on that. Excellent advert for Rage in the Cage there with my favourite wrestler ever, Ted DiBiase. And Macho Man Randy Savage, Sid Justice, Jake the Snake, another favourite of mine, the Mountie, the Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. So yeah, then it explains their strange rating system, which to me, at the time, just seemed so bizarre that they would rate things like that with these smiley faces. And GamePro didn't give an overall score either. They just gave the scores for the different categories, which kind of left you more up to what was more important to you, I suppose, in a way. There's our letters page, a Super Hunchback by Ocean, of course, a British company, who at that point had expanded into America as well. Hunchback was originally very much a British game. So it's talking about Sears, advert for Sears there, the American chain store. Good old Arch Rivals, I had that on the Mega Drive. Good conversion of the arcade game. There's some things there. Raid and Trade advert. A lot of adverts in the American magazines there. Insert coins, the Hot Arcade Special, Total Carnage. Brilliant game, got the Jaguar version. Air Rescue by Sega. Cool super scaler game. What else we got? Relief Pitcher, another Atari one. I've got that on the links. F1 Exhaust Note Sega. I don't think I've ever played that, but it looks quite cool. Cybercop. We knew it's Corporation over here. Oh, more arcades. Andrew Junos. Guardians of the Hood. I loved Guardians of the Hood. I really did. G.I. Joe. I'll call it previews, sorry. Ninja Commando, Neo Geo, Viewpoint, Neo Geo. Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition Guide. RBI Baseball advert. More Battletoads. Taz-Mania. That's Adventure Island 3 on NES. I was guessing they quite liked that. I didn't actually look. Yeah, they did. They quite liked it. Some previews. Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat. Is that the NES version? Yeah, they liked it, but they didn't like the sound. But otherwise, they liked it. Panic Restaurant. B-52. That's Game Boy. Game Boy. NES, I believe, as well. Noah's Ark. That's Nintendo. They didn't like that at all. No surprise. Loads of coupons there for software, etc. Not a shop I'm familiar with because it's an American one, obviously. Taz-Mania, which they really liked on the Mega Drive. Really liked. Look at that. 5, 4.5, 5 and 5. Blimey. Sid of Vallis, Arch Rivals. Talk about Arch Rivals actually. They quite liked it. Yeah. I liked it. Lemmings. This is sort of smaller reviews. The Lemmings Ferrari Grand Prix Challenge, which I had back in the day. I had Lemmings as well, actually. Crushes with Funhouse. Blackfall Assault. That was Mega CD. My friend, my next door neighbour, he had a Mega CD. Yeah, Blackfall Assault. Thought it was alright at the time, but playing it now, it's quite crap actually, isn't it? Sega CD software. That's stuff that's coming out. Of course, we called it the Mega CD over here. Olympic Gold. There's Universal Soldier, which I think was the cover. Yeah, the cover's Universal Soldier. So there's the Game Boy game, which is just a conversion of Turrican 2. Very lazy. So it actually was just a Turrican 2 on all the formats, actually, on Mega Drive, SNES and Game Boy, which is what they're looking at there. They liked it, but then Turrican 2 was a really good game. So, Street Fighter 2. Super Double Dragon. I really like Super Double Dragon on the SNES, actually. It's probably one of my top 10 SNES games. They really liked it. Legend of Zelda, Robocop 3 advert. Very cool. Axelade. That's a great game on the SNES. That's probably one of my top 10 SNES games as well. They really liked that. Monopoly and Clue on SNES. Bubsy the Bobcat 2. As early look at. What's that? TurboGrafx advert, very cool. And a Turbo Express advert. These are really cool Turbo adverts, actually. Both double page. And there's an advert for Todd's Adventures in Slime World, which was originally a Lynx game, of course, and then was converted onto the Mega Drive, Stroke Genesis, and the PC Engine. Falcon, that's TurboGrafx. It's not amazing. Flight sims on consoles rarely work. Shadow of the Beast. Sports stuff. Sports reviews, NCAA basketball. TV sports baseball. TurboGrafx. They're talking about the Centipede and Missile Command. They were advertised in the magazine, reviewed them there, but they didn't like them that much. I'm guessing it's because they probably thought they were too old games. Yeah, they kind of see it's a bit old hat, but I really liked those ports. I thought they were both great. The Terminator, that's the Game Gear version. That's very good, actually. Very good game. They thought so as well. Shadow of the Beast. Which version's that? The Lynx, I think. Yes, it is the Lynx version. Which is excellent in my opinion. Yeah, they liked it. Didn't think it was amazing. Kung Fu, another Lynx game there. They quite liked that. Again, didn't think it was amazing, but they quite liked it. I bought both those back in the day, actually. Both of those. I don't think it's off these reviews, though. I don't really remember those reviews, so probably didn't have this issue. It doesn't bring back any memories, so it probably wasn't one that I had. There for Lemmings. Greetings from CES. That's some previews. We've got Superman, we've got Captain America, Chester Cheetah, Sonic 2, Streets of Rage 2. Where? Best game ever, in my opinion. Batman Return of the Joker, Super Monaco 2, Batman Returns. Video game gloves. So yeah, just what you want. Jennifer Capriati tennis there. Right. That's that issue out of the way. Let's have a look at this one with no cover then. We'll grab that one. So if I remember rightly, this is March 93. Yes, it is. March 93. Actually, this is one that I had. I mentioned that it was one I definitely knew that I had. And that's because obviously this had no cover and I was looking at it for clues of what issue it was. And then when I saw the contents page, I straight away focused on there where it said Lynx Ninja Gaiden and Jaguar Raiden. And that's why I remember Raiden and Gaiden. That's why I remembered it, having it, because I specifically remember both those reviews actually very, very, very well. And I did end up actually buying both of those games. I wasn't impressed with Ninja Gaiden 3 at all. I thought it was one of the worst games on the Lynx. But that's another matter. Sega CD Rage in the Cage there. It's quite good. Shame it's lacking in 2-player mode, so that's what let it down. Charles Barkley, it's a Jag. So I'm saying they can't get one. Yeah, lots of problems with getting Jaguars. There was lots. Cost them dearly. Sonic 3, great advert there. Skitchin, great game. Kind of like Road Rash and roller skates, basically. Sega Sports advert. Bubsy 2 again. In the last one, I think it's got Bubsy 2. The Sega Activator. What a load of rubbish that was. Really, really, really crap thing. Didn't work properly at all. I never tried it, but I heard all about it. It's on the TV shows. On Games Master or Bad Influence or something like that. I think it was on over here. Hot at the Arcade. Raiden 2. Brilliant sequel. Every bit as good as the original. There's NBA Jam. Which one version is that? Super NES. Can't argue with NBA Jam. Great games. There's the Genesis version, which I also loved. And is that the Game Gear? Yeah, Game Gear one. Some cool Codemasters advert there. Fantastic Dizzy Cosmic Space Head. Dino Bash and Micro Machines. There's Sonic 3, which I'm guessing they absolutely loved. Yeah, there we go. 5, 4, 5, 5. I'm surprised they gave it a 4 for sound. Sound is really good in that. I'm surprised they didn't get 5s all across the board, if I'm quite honest. Castlevania Bloodlines, that's Mega Drive. They quite like that, yep. Zool, which version is that? It's the Mega Drive version. There, they like that. Mega Turrican. Very good game. Yeah, they really liked it as well. Action 52. Oh, brilliant! It's the Mega Drive version of Action 52. I've made a whole video about Action 52, so I'll actually have to link that up in the corner there and down in the description, in case anyone wants to find out more. Because the story behind the Action 52 games and cartridges, the two NES and Genesis, and actually it was an unreleased Super Nintendo one. It's absolutely fascinating. It's such an amazing story. They gave it a really terrible review, and it's easy to see why, because it is absolutely terrible. But the story behind it is better than the actual cartridge itself. Family Feud, Joe Mac. Pele, that's a game that brings back terrific nostalgia for me. Pele on the Mega Drive, because I was working at Future Zone when that came out, and we were being paid to promote it. And the person who sold the most copies, I think it was in a week, got a free copy of the game, and that was me. I sold the most copies, so I got a free copy of it, and I really liked it at the time and played loads of it. I play it now; it's rubbish. It's not a very good football game at all. But we were so heavily promoting it. We had it on big screens in the store and everything. It was crazy how much we promoted it. But there we go. But it brings back a lot of nostalgia for me, that does, because I really enjoyed working at Games. So it's a great place to work, and really, really nice people, and really good perks as well for staff. Fido died on the Mega Drive, which never actually came out. They said it was alright as well, but it was never released. Just a Cheetah Wild West Quest. Didn't think much of that. Oh yeah, good old Lethal Enforcers with the light gun of Konami. Sega CD Grand Zero Texas, they thought it was alright. Double Switch, another Mega CD review. Yeah, they really liked that. Eternal Champions. That was a decent game. Bit hard though, I thought. Bugs Bunny Rabbit Rampage. Did liked that. A Speed Racer Accolade. Super Alfred Chicken on the Super NES. He quite liked that. I'm surprised. Excalibur. Turn and Burn, No Fly Zone. American Tail, Fifle Goes West. Not familiar with that at all. They thought it was alright though. Some small reviews. We've got Beethoven Second. Yeah, great. So these are mostly games that they thought were crap by the looks of things. Kendo Rage, Barbie Supermodel, and the Super NES version of Wild West Quest, which I obviously didn't like as much as the Mega Drive version. Preview of Fatal Fury 2 on Super NES. Game Genie Codes, X-Men. Game Pro Strategy Guide here. For the Game Gear. Oh, that's cool. X-Men, Sonic, all sorts of games. That's quite good. A poster still in here. Look at that, intact. Mortal Kombat 2 poster. Oh, that's very cool that it's still intact in the magazine, especially since the cover's missing, but it's still got the poster in the middle. That's really cool. Give you combat, so kind of split it into sections. James Bond. Metal Marines. Wayne's World NES. They hated that. Thought it was absolute rubbish. Not surprised. Jurassic Park and the Mega CD. What's that? Total Eclipse. That's 3DO. It's an early 3DO review. They really liked that. Alfred Chicken Night Trap. Infamous Night Trap. And they really liked that actually for the most part. Soldiers of Fortune, which was we knew as Chaos Engine over here. And there we go. Raiden on the Jaguar. Which they gave 3.54, 3.53. Yes, they thought it was okay, but didn't think it was that amazing. I'm guessing, from what I remember, they just didn't think it was a showcase game. Yeah, there we go. It's not a 64-bit showcase. So yeah, but I bought it anyway. I ummed and ahed over Raiden at first because I loved it in the arcades, but a few of the early Jaguar reviews for it didn't think it was that great. So I held off on buying it and bought other games first. And then I did buy it because there was no other games about, pretty much. And also, actually, there was a store near me called Rumbelows, if people in the UK remember them. And Rumbelows were doing this offer where if you bought a game, they'd give you £5 off a second controller. And we didn't have a second controller, but we didn't need one because we didn't have any other two-player games at that point. And so we thought, oh, we'll go down and take advantage of that. In fact, I can't remember. I think they put the voucher in the local paper. God, that shows, doesn't it? And yeah, so we went down and got Riding because it was 2-player. So we got Riding and got the second controller. But I wasn't disappointed. I think Riding's a brilliant game. Really, really good conversion of a brilliant arcade game. I absolutely love the Jaguar version, especially the soundtrack. Soundtrack's amazing. Flashback. Sports pages. So there's Pele, actually. We were talking about Pele before. And they thought it was decent. So there we go. Champions World Class Soccer. That's branded as a Ryan Giggs game over here. And it's crap. They said it wasn't very good there, actually. There's FIFA and stuff there. Oh, Jaguar. Look at this. I think this is a four-page advert, if I remember rightly. Look at that. Very cool. 3D graphics really enough to make you blow chunks. You've been warned. So there we go. We've got Cybermorph. We've got Evolution Dino Dudes. That was the third Jaguar game I bought. Trevor McFerrin, The Credit Galaxy, which is the second one I bought because the graphics just look so amazing. It was the weakest out of that bunch, though, no doubt. Raiden, and then on the next page we've got Checkered Flag 2, which wasn't out for quite a while actually. Alien vs Predator, Club Drive, which also wasn't out for quite a while, and Tempest 2000, which all we know was absolutely bloody amazing. High Seas Havoc, Young Merlin Strategy Guide, Kirby's Pinball Land, Ninja Gaiden 3 says the Link's review. Yes, so let's see, they gave it 3.54, 5 and 4.5, so I actually liked it, and they said it was worth getting. They said the sprites were a bit small and indistinct, but otherwise they liked it. But then I guess they liked the NES version, which I never played the NES version of 3. I'd only played the first one at that point, but I loved the first Ninja Gaiden on the Lynx because it was a conversion of the arcade game. So I think that's why that third one disappointed me so much, because it wasn't a scrolling beat 'em up. Didn't like it at all. The excellent Game Gear port of Road Rash, surprisingly good. Barman vs Radioactive Man, Adam's Family, nice advert for Dragon Slayer, Game Pro recommends, cool Sega CD advert, some more SWAT Pro cheats and stuff. Big magazines, these Game Pros, aren't they? Big. SWAT Pro, Fatal Fury Special, Mortal Kombat 2. There was one of these that I bought that had a big guide for Primal Rage in it, and I used that so much because I had the Jaguar version of Primal Rage, and it helped me find out all the moves, especially all the secret moves. It's absolutely brilliant. Short Pro Shots, Pro News, Top 10 Video Game Rentals from Blockbuster. How about that, eh? Absolutely brilliant. Blockbuster Video, get best game rentals. Tecmo Super Bowl on NES, Mortal Kombat on SNES, Sonic Spinball on Genesis, and Sonic CD on Sega CD. And that's all for that issue with that mutant Game Boy there. Hilarious. And we'll go to this issue now, actually. This is a much more modern one, but it's also a lot smaller. The magazine definitely got a lot smaller. They changed the binding to a kind of more solid binding, but the magazine got smaller. Rather than a staple, it's a glued bind. So this is issue 116, but you'll see it's 1998. So it's absolutely loads later. So I never would have seen or heard of this issue because at that time I wasn't really playing games, to be honest. I think I'd even got rid of my Saturn by that point. My flatmate, we had a PlayStation 1, but which we played on occasionally. Stuff like Premier Manager was something we played quite often, actually, and Gran Turismo. But I wasn't really that into the gaming at that point. I was all about going out clubbing and stuff. I was really into that stuff at the time, going clubbing, going to the pub. I had a girlfriend, and so I was out with her all the time. They're around that other thing. My social life had taken over at that point from gaming big time. Midway presents Arcade's Greatest Hits. That's a pretty cool advert. There's a good collection, actually. A friend of mine had it later on when I lived in Tenerife. We had a PlayStation in our flat, there, and we had that. That was one of the things we had, actually, funnily enough. A lot of adverts. God, look at that. We've barely got into the magazine. It's just advert after advert. Talking about the death of the Saturn there, which is interesting. This is when they kind of, Sega decided to call quits on the Saturn, was 98. The last Western games were released that year. It was just, I think there was just 3 in Europe, if I remember rightly. And that year, Duke Nukem the movie. Really. Net Pro. Yeah, the magazine changed a lot. And the adverts, it's just can't believe how many there are. Quake. Gex 64. My younger brother had an N64, but I didn't really see much of him in those days because we lived in different towns. So, yeah, I didn't really see that much of him, to be honest. Oh, I just skipped loads ahead for some reason. PR Baseball. Batman Robin PlayStation. Vigilante 8 PlayStation. These are previews. Colony Wars. Blasto. Defcon 1. QG the Heartless. A lot of these games I'm not even that familiar with, to be honest. Einhander, I know Einhander. It's a good shooter. Unholy War. Team Lossy Racing. Nitrous Oxide. I don't know, loads of these games. Tekken 3 adverts. Urban Assault. Outwars. Montezuma's Return. So it's a sort of a 3D update of Montezuma's Revenge. I wasn't even aware of that existence of that, to be honest. So there we go. Harley Davidson arcade game. Don't remember seeing that at all. More adverts. The amount of adverts is just horrific. Rampage World Tour, Nintendo 64. I've got the Saturn version, which I actually really like. I quite liked it. Don't think it's anything amazing. Diablo, X vs Street Fighter. That's the PlayStation version. Nowhere near as good as the Saturn version. Nowhere near. Dead or Alive. That's PlayStation again, not as good as the Saturn version. Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. Diablo, PlayStation. Gran Turismo advert. It's funny, let's talk about Gran Turismo. So, which we did have. Pitfall 3D. Speed Racer, Powerboat Racing. Theme Hospital. Reboot based on the cartoon. House of the Dead Saturn previews. There is a little bit of Saturn. See the 1998 lineup so far. Magic Knight, Ray Earth, Shining Force 3, Panzer Dragoon Saga, Burning Rangers. Yeah, so Panzer Dragoon Saga and Burning Rangers were 2 of those games that were released in Europe. I don't know if Shining Force 3 was. I don't think it was. Can't remember what the other one was. It might have been. It actually might have been House of the Dead. Probably was. I had a friend who still had a Saturn. I remember he had a party at his house. I remember playing House of the Dead because he had that. It was really good. And he had Burning Rangers. He was diehard Saturn until the end. Loads of sports games. That's the reboot game we're talking about. I never liked that cartoon or anything, but I wasn't really into cartoons then. I was too old for them. Role Players Realms. There's Panzer Dragoon Saga. Which they rated very highly. Powerboat Racing, there's Gex. Strategy Guides. Darkstalkers. And there we go. That's the lot. That's all of those 3 issues of GamePro, and I've got some more to look at, so I will end the video there and say I've been a RetroLaird and I thank you for watching, and I'll be back with some more videos soon and more issues of GamePro, so check that out when it drops, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye bye.